Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we had the draft and re-sign stage, and we let go of a couple of big pieces, but our roster still looks very good going into next season. We also drafted some pretty good prospects for the future of this team. And yeah, we're up here in free agency, and I think we are maybe going to make some adjustments, but it's a very small one potentially, depending on basically how the free agency portion sims, but I'll get to that in a tiny little bit. But yeah, our roster still looks very good on paper going into next season already at this stage, which is awesome to see, considering we just let go of a couple really big players in Luke Misa and Chaz Lucius. You can see that our center depth is still very good. Obviously, Bickle being a pending UFA, I'm probably going to give him an extension right out of the gate at the start of the season, just because I think obviously he's a very valuable second-line center that we could easily flip once Goldman, Matsumoto, those type of guys are passing him in the depth chart. Also, we did draft this Akeem Hansen guy. He's going to be probably going down to the AHL to start off with, but hopefully he can generate enough growth to being a good bottom six guy at the end of the season or going into next season. And then you can see our left wing pool still looks very solid. Our right wing pool looks very solid. Our defensive core looks very solid. And once again, our goaltending is pretty much the exact same as last year as well. So everything's looking pretty good on this team. And like I said, I'm very excited to see if this team could go for its third cup in a 5-year span. But anyways, before we get into simulating some of the season and also thinking about what we're going to do this offseason, I do have one comment to go over, and that is from Saturn Otaku, who says, "This is the time where we see a U-Tree video on how the 2026 draft class was full of busts. I don't think you need to make any big changes to the roster in free agency or to trade. Trust the core." So he's saying not to make any trades with this roster, just to pretty much maintain it. Now, what I'm kind of thinking about doing is basically kind of what I was hinting at in the last episode. Now, last episode, basically I was saying, hey, maybe we could try and trade away Louis Vara. Now, we don't necessarily need to, but it could be a good little upgrade for us to make if we wanted to trade him out. And I was looking at free agency, and there is a defenseman I have a lot of interest in, and that is Kubos, who's that 86 overall. The main reason why isn't because of Louis Vara being not good in the playoffs last year. It's more because once Kyrou is gone from this team, because eventually he will leave this team, we have kind of like a bit of a void in that top six, because we'd probably have to run some 81 overall guys, which is a little bit weaker compared to what obviously it's like to have an 83. So I am going to be trying to basically offer Kubos a contract exactly kind of what he's asking for right now in free agency. If he accepts and decides he wants to sign with the Jets, then we're going to trade Louis Vara. If he does not want to accept and join the Jets, then we'll hold on to Louis Vara and keep our team into next season. I just think having an 86 overall guy signed for a few years would be beneficial, especially if we end up losing Kyrou at some point. And that way it solidifies our top four, because we'd have Palin, Vandermeer, Kyrou, and Kubos. And then the Louis Vara gets dealt because of that. We'd have Vernarski and Scarlett as the top six, Bishop as the depth defenseman. So I think our defensive core would be much stronger with the addition of Kubos. It doesn't have to happen. So that's why I'm deciding to kind of just like wait a little tiny bit and decide if we want to trade him, if Kubos will accept our contract. And we have the cap space as well to do it. We have $19 million in cap space, so that's kind of where I'm leaning towards that as well. Obviously, we are going to have to spend a decent amount of money next offseason when we have some big names up for renewal, I think. Let me take a look. Yeah, Bickle's the big one, so can I offer him a contract? Yeah, I can already. That's good. He wants actually, yeah, a good chunk of money. I do really like his play from his rookie season, so I think I am going to lock him up on maybe an 8-year extension. Man, that's risky, though, with some of the medium elite centers. What is he wanting for like 5 years? 11.1. I think I'm going to try and lock him up for like a good chunk of years. Let's do 6 years actually even. And the main reason for that is just because eventually at some point he might get replaced. And I think his contract will be a movable contract. It's not like it's going to weigh us down at all. It's kind of risky doing this after only one season, but let's try and get him on a 6-year deal. Oh geez, I don't want to go like that. Let's go 9 years, or not 9 years, 6 years. God damn, I can barely speak here. 9975 would probably get it done. I'm gonna see if I could talk him down to lower than that, like 6 by 9.9. Let's try that with Bickle and see if he'll accept that. I did really like his play, like I said, and his potential has gone up to medium elite. I think he'll be really good next to any shooter on this team, so I do want to hold on to him if we possibly can. But you can see, like, other pending free agents wise, next offseason we have Kyrou, who, like I said, we might have to eventually let go of. We have Bishop, who's a UFA, and then we have Louis Var's RFA rights still. We have Fairchild's RFA rights, Goldman's an RFA, which is kind of a big one. He doesn't want an extension, which is interesting right now. And also there's Matsumoto. So not the biggest of names necessary to re-sign, but still it's going to cost us a bit, especially Stanley King as well. So yeah, that's basically what's going to happen next offseason. But I think I'm going to still throw my name in the hat for Kubos, just to kind of see if we could get him. If we could get him, it'll help bolster that top 4. If we can't get him, it doesn't really matter. We end up just holding on to Louis Vara for next season and seeing what he could do, considering he still has RFA rights. So let's head over to the free agent pool and take a look at Mr. Kubos. I know you guys were saying not to make any huge additions, but I think Kubos would be a great addition. He's only 26 years old. He wants a 5-year deal at 8.475, which is currently less than what Kyrou is making. So that's where I'm kind of like, I think I would rather this guy, because this guy's an 86 overall and making less money potentially than Kyrou is. I think it would be a great one. Obviously, he doesn't pick up the same numbers as Kyrou offensively, but he did have a 67-point season a few years ago where he dominated. The Bruins have also made 2 cup finals in a row, and he's been very good in them. So I do really like his playoff performance, and I think that's where I'm kind of leaning towards bringing him in, is his playoffs like the last 4 years have been pretty damn good. Before that, not so good, but the last 4 years have been fantastic. And if he's only 26 and he's got all these good X factors and whatnot, putting him on like a power play unit maybe as like a second unit guy, or maybe not even a power play unit, maybe he just is like a penalty killing kind of guy for us as well, he will be pretty damn solid. So let's offer him a contract and just see if he accepts. Throw our name into the hat, because obviously there's other interest from Boston again, so he might go back to Boston again, to be honest. Nashville also is interested, New Jersey, and Toronto. So we're just going to give him exactly what he wants, so we aren't going to change this at all, just because we don't want to overpay for him, we don't want to underpay for him. We just want to see if he'll accept based on what his current terms are. So we'll throw a name into the hat for him and see if he accepts. Obviously, we don't necessarily need more left-handed defensemen, but he would be a direct replacement for Louis Vara if he is to accept that. So that's basically going to be, I think, the only thing we do in terms of this offseason before the season starts, potentially. We do need an assistant coach back in the NHL and a goalie coach, so let's go ahead and do that, because obviously this is important as well. So if we're looking for goalie coaches and assistant coaches, let's just start off with a goalie coach. So somebody like this guy, since he's got A+ teaching, URB, our NHL goalie coach, Richard Lang. We'll bring you in. And then we also need ourselves, like I said, the assistant coach. So let's just sort this up here and see what we're getting. Actually, let's just sort by overall rating, because that might make it a bit easier. Let's see what we got here. Any good fits? A 61% in Larry Murphy. Interesting. 64% there in Hansel and also Hoyle. Trying to think of who I would prefer. Probably Hoyle. Wait, let me take a look at their career numbers. Hansel's never been a coach. That's interesting. Where has this guy coached before? Let me take a look at his career stats. Never coached anywhere, not even in the AHL. He's only 53. The other guy's much older, so probably closer to retirement, but he has coached in the AHL in Texas the last few years. He was coaching in San Jose before that, not did that bad. But he would be an associate only for us is the thing. Do we want the experience factor, or do we just want somebody new? I think we're going to go for the younger guy here in Hansel and see if he wants to be our assistant coach. Is it our assistant or associate? Assistant, okay. I always get those two confused, so... But let's get ourselves in Hansel as an assistant coach, and then we'll have our coaching staff set up NHL-wise for next season, which should be pretty exciting. Also, since we have goalies in the system, I think we should probably sign ourselves an AHL goalie coach, so we'll go ahead and do that as well. The AHL assistant coach isn't as important, but we will definitely get ourselves a good AHL goalie coach as well, because we know how important those kind of guys are. So there we go. We got our coaches signed, potentially, if they want to accept that. That would be great. And then we also have our offer sent to Kubos. The question is, will Kubos accept this? If he doesn't accept this, like I said, we'll just keep the team the exact same going into next season, which is not a bad option. Boston has made a trade, so they are freeing up cap space. Actually, no, they're bringing in players, so they're not freeing up cap space. They bring in Seneke and Callum Ritchie from Minnesota for 2 second-round picks, okay? So Boston's still trying to go for a Stanley Cup because obviously they've lost the last 2 years and they really want a Stanley Cup, I guess. No, thank you there, Toronto. Don't need to make any trades like that. Lang has accepted, so there is our NHL goalie coach. Hemsky is accepted as our AHL goalie coach, which is nice. So we're almost got all those coaches in. Hansel is accepted as our NHL assistant, so there is our NHL coaching staff dealt with, which is very nice. The question now is, will Kubos accept a contract from us? There's a lot of other teams interested, so there's a chance that he will not accept. But who knows, maybe he'll want to come to a team that's won multiple cups in the last few years. We would be trading Schremp and Bork for a 6th and a 7th round pick. That doesn't sound like a good deal to me, even though we don't really need those guys. But here we go. Will Kubos accept and join the Winnipeg Jets? Bickle rejected to 9.9. We need to give him more money than that. I almost forgot that I offered him a contract. That scared me a bit. And Kubos goes to Detroit. Damn, okay, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Like I said, we already have enough good players on our roster. It's not the end of the world. But what did Kubos end up getting paid by the Detroit Red Wings? That might have saved us anyways cap-wise, but let's see what Kubos is getting in Detroit. He's getting 8.895 for the next, 5 seasons. So a little tiny bit more than what we were offering him because we offered him exactly what he wanted. Maybe we could have went up a little bit more if we really wanted him, but I think Detroit's actually a pretty good home for him based on this defensive core. He will definitely help solidify it there. They have a lot more left-handers as well, but our defensive core is still pretty damn strong, and that means Louis Vara will survive going into next season, which is it's okay. He picks up around the same amount of points regular season-wise usually as Kubos, but it's the playoff performance that I really liked from that guy. So let's go back to centers here and go back to Bickle again, try and get him locked up on a big deal. I honestly am thinking of maybe giving him an 8-year deal, but Goldman, I think, will generate into a good... He could end up being a third-line center instead, based on his growth so far. But then you also have Matsumoto, so, should I sign Bickle for an 8-year deal? I feel like he would be a very good player to just keep long-term next to somebody like Groshek or Irving, so... You know what? We're going to sign Bickle on an 8-year extension instead. And see if he'll accept that. I think his demand has gone down a bit too, which is kind of nice. We'll try the 85% trick with him and see if we can lock him up. So let me do some math here. And maybe we could get him for 8 years at 9,225. It would be very nice to have him locked up for a long term. Because he basically showed to me in his rookie season that he could produce offensively if he's next to the right players. So even though it might be a lot of money just after one rookie season, I think it'll be very nice to have him next to Groshek or something like that. It will help our secondary scoring, so to speak. We'll have him right behind Michael Misa. Obviously, Michael Misa is going to be expensive down the road, so maybe he's even going to be a future top liner and get rid of Michael Misa at some point. I don't really know, but let me see if he accepts that extension before we get to Sim to next season. We're not trading Reason, no thank you there, Philadelphia. He's one of our better prospects, I think. And there you go. Bickle has accepted an 8-year extension. So there is a pretty massive contract extension. And like I said, maybe he's the replacement for Michael Misa on that top line if Michael Misa decides that he doesn't want to be a Jet in the next few years. But let's sum up to next season and see what we're working with lineup-wise. Let me actually edit my trading block because we're getting just too much offers here, and I don't want to trade any of these guys that it's asking for. But I'm just going to remove everything from my block here so that way we aren't getting any offers thrown at us. Because I do not need any offers this offseason. It's too annoying when the game sends you all these offers during the offseason. So I'm just going to ignore every single trade. Why am I still getting an offer? I don't want to trade Palin for Lucas Raymond. Let me edit the trading block again here. Why is it doing that? There's literally nothing I have on my block. I guess Detroit just really wanted him. That's weird. Oh well. Unless that was already coming through before I adjusted my block. That's interesting, though, that we got an offer for Palin, but I'm going to hold on to Palin still for a bit longer. Because he has jumped back up to an 89 again, so if he gets more ice time, I think he'll be okay, which is good. I'll probably try and put him like next to Vandermeer if possible as our top pairing, because that would be pretty decent. And you have a good like kind of defensive player, and then you also have a very good offensive player. Okay, let's get to our lines. It's going to be interesting with Irving back in the lineup. Obviously, he missed all year's playoffs, which is going to be interesting to see what he could do when he returns from his injury here this season. So, okay, we got King and Grant. That's good. We got Vandermeer, Palin, Cairo, Vernarski, Louis Vara's also dropped a little bit too. Oh, man. The only thing that's a little bit tough here is these guys are all listed as top 4. So one of them, like Vernarski or Louis Vara, is going to have to play on the top 6 pairing, which means less ice time for them. But unless we give them more penalty kill time, that might be useful. And then Bishop is depth. Right wing wise, Irving, Jacquezie, Wilson, Fairchild. Wow, Fairchild jumped to an 82. He is still listed as a third line checking forward, though, luckily. So he will still probably be on our fourth line. But damn, that's some pretty good growth. We have Groshek, Enroth, and Eberle. And then we have Misa. Bickle went up to an 88 and is listed as a first-line center. Holy crap. And then we have Goldman, Matsumoto. Hansen's going to get sent down. That's the guy we literally just drafted, right? That I was mentioning before? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was going to say we needed to sign depth forwards, but we do have Hurd. I could sign somebody else as a depth forward, I think. Let me just see how much forwards we got. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 with Hurd. We could call up Cam as a 13th forward, and Landon also actually should be up here too, technically, so that should be good. Let's do that, and that way we're getting Hansen as much ice time as possible in the AHL, get him some good growth playing with veterans like Rafalski, which is good. There's not really a lot of players in the system that are signed to contracts. I just realized. That's interesting. Our AHL team might not be that great. Okay, so let's go best lines in the NHL for momentarily, and then let's adjust this. Okay, so we are going to be going to a top line of... Oh, wait a second. What the heck did I do that for? Goddamn. We're going to go to a top 6 of... Yeah, I guess that would work. Jeez, man, this team is looking fantastic. Wow. And everybody's in, like, a natural position pretty much, too. So, even without Lucius and Luke Misa, look at this team. Irving, Misa, Jacquezie, Wilson, Bickle, Groshek. That's a nasty top 6. Nasty. And not only these guys are interchangeable, too. Like, we could literally move Groshek up, move Irving down if we want to. It doesn't make much of a difference, I think, though. Yeah, it doesn't make much of a difference. Third line is really nice as well. Eberle, Goldman, and Enroth. And a fourth line of Fairchild, Matsumoto, and Lannon. Fairchild might not like his ice time, really, but he's not really... He's got 99 passing. You know, if only that offensive awareness was better. God damn, man. He would be a fantastic passer. Yeah, I really like the looks of this team. The only one that's out of position is Aiden Irving, I think. But that is really nice. Very, very nice. From a defensive standpoint, we're going to go... Why did Palin drop back down to an 84 again? That's really weird. We'll put Palin with Vandermeer. Yeah, we'll do something like that. We'll do Cairo and Louis Vara, which means we'll do Scarlett and Vernarski. Yeah, I think that's what we'll go with here. And then goalie-wise, King and Grant. Scratch-wise, Jamal Hurd, even though he's a low elite, he's not really generated much growth. He will be a depth forward for us because he's already 24. Cam and Bishop as the depth defenseman. I don't mind that. This is a very good-looking team, though. Power play-wise, let's see what we got. Misa, Irving, Jacquezie, Vandermeer, Cairo. Second unit has Bickle, Eberle, Fairchild. I don't know if I want Fairchild on there. Maybe I should make adjustments like and move Groshek to the top unit. Let Cairo run his own unit. I think that's something that we'll do here. So we'll get Groshek in over Cairo. And then we'll get Cairo into this unit to help out with the offense. Wow, we have so much skill on this team. I love it. And I don't know if I want Fairchild on this unit, though, or not. Eberle was a really good shooter before in the playoffs, but I don't know if he's really that type of guy to go a point spot. I could give Palin some power play time just to make him extra happy. Or give Vernarski some power play time. That might be okay. Yeah, we'll give Vernarski some power play time since he's playing on the top 6. That's a reasonable move for our team to make. Yeah. Oh, that second unit's, yeah, not really that great. So if I put in, instead of Wilson, if I put Cairo in this spot here, that makes it only a -1, and then I get rid of Cairo here. If I went with Groshek instead of Cairo, that's good. And then instead of Groshek here, we could put in Vernarski again. Makes it a -2. What if I put Palin here? Man, it's in a -3. Jaquizi's not really a great fit on the second power play unit. But he's got to be there, so we're going to take Palin out, and I guess we're going to go to Vernarski. Yeah, we'll just go to Vernarski. Penalty kill looks fine. Maybe I should put Enroth on one of these penalty kills instead of Groshek, because Enroth isn't getting a lot of ice time. That's good. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to run with. Yeah, this team is looking fantastic. Fantastic. I don't know what the scheme fit is with this coach, but it's probably pretty damn good. AHL-wise, yeah, Akeem Hansen getting top-line time as an 18-year-old next to some veteran AHLers. I like that. Who is scratched? That shouldn't be Shrimp. Should I be able to get Kent Shrimp back in? Probably over Lemaire, to be honest, based on age. Let's see if I could adjust this. There you go. Perfect. And goalie-wise, Bergfist being the AHL starter. Should be interesting to see if he gets a lot of growth this season. And, yep, AHL is ready to go. NHL is ready to go. Let me just take a look and see what the fit is with this coach. But we have a good, very good team. And who knows, maybe we could go for that third cup. So Vivirios obviously has won us multiple Stanley Cups. He's still at a 64%. I don't think I'm going to even look to change to coach for right now. Yeah, we're going to run with this. Let's see how this team does. We're going to simulate a few months only. We are 23 minutes into this episode, roughly around. I think we're going to simulate maybe up to like January the 1st. They want 2 of our medium elite prospects to give us Miro Heiskanen. That's quite an offer, but Miro Heiskanen is making a ton of money. So I don't really want that, especially with the money I might have to spend in these next few off seasons. So let's see how we do in the preseason. And like I said, we'll probably simulate up to like January the 1st, around maybe December the 1st, depending on how good of a start we get off to. But we should be a playoff team again, and it's going to be exciting to see what Bickle could do on that second line. I think he's going to be one of the more exciting players in the series alongside Aiden Irving. Like, he's definitely a part of that core going forward, I think. So we're not having the best preseason, but it is the preseason. It doesn't really matter too much. We go 4-3. Curious who led the team in points. Jaquizi with 10 points in 7 games. Pretty damn good. Like, literally everybody in our top 6 is, like, some of my favorite players in this series, which is kind of funny because, like, literally, like, I love Irving. Misa's been fantastic, too. Maybe a bit more quiet than some of the other guys. I like Jaquizi. Wilson's pretty damn solid. He's getting a big opportunity this season. Bickle's been good. Groshek's been good. And then you go to, like, defense, like, Vandermeer's been fantastic. So I think this is going to be a very, very good team again. I'm assuming that we should hit at least 55 wins this year. Maybe we even get closer to like a 60-win season. But it all depends, I guess, on the goaltending. Because obviously running Grant as our backup to start the season is a bit different than last year, where we were running Brathwaite at the start of it. Now, one thing I do want to take a look at before we actually start simulating is where did Lucius and Luke Misa sign? Because I am curious on that. Obviously, those were our big subtractions after we won that Stanley Cup, but it is going to be interesting to see where those guys signed. Obviously, I could have brought them back, but it doesn't really make sense with how good our roster currently looks. Like, you guys can kind of understand my vision a bit more, I guess, now. So, Lucius, where did he sign? He signed with the Florida Panthers on a 3-year deal at 9.33. See, we would have had the cap space to sign him, but it's kind of worthless at the sense because we don't have a roster spot really for him anymore. And then Luke Misa, where did he sign? Where did he sign? Luke Misa signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And he's getting a 7 by 13.2. God damn. So he just secured the bag. If he has a really bad season, I will not necessarily laugh because I really like how he played with us last season, but he might be a version of those statistical growth type of players because he had over 100 points with us in the regular season, had a fantastic playoffs, especially when he helped clinch us that Stanley Cup win. But yeah, I don't think I would pay him $13.2 million just based on the fact he was a top 6 forward prospect at some stage. Like, he wasn't even medium elite. So anyways, let's see how we do going into November. Let's see how we do in our first month of action. We do lose our first game of the season, but that's okay. Let's see. We might get off to a bit of a slow start because we have played also a lot of games in the last few years. Like, we're kind of almost like Tampa in a sense, where Tampa's played like a ton of games in the playoffs and stuff like that. So they're starting to show that sluggish play a little bit in the regular season. 5-3 in the preseason, or not preseason, in the first month of the season. And we are top of our division, okay? We don't have the best record, but we probably will start to find ourselves here in November. Let's go another month. I'm excited to see what some of these guys do this season offensively, especially Irving coming back from his injury. I think he's going to have a really solid year again because last year he almost had 100 points. Johnny Grant has been injured. Are you serious? That's not great. Johnny Grant was a hero last year in the playoffs. We are going to have to call up Bergqvist already, which is not ideal. But Bergqvist will get his NHL debut way earlier than anticipated. But it does make us a little bit weak goalie-wise, but at least we have Stanley King still. So Bergqvist will get called up. And that means in the AHL, it will be Ribeiro and whatever this Corey guy's name is. Jeff Corey. Jeff Corey. Come on, boys. Let's get some more wins here. I know we've been off to a little bit of a slow start, but we have had some really good offensive games, and Johnny Grant is back. Did Bergqvist get the play in his first game yet? Let's see. It looks like he did. He won his first NHL game. He didn't play the best, but he did face 40 shots on goal. So shout out to Bergqvist and his first win way earlier than we were anticipating. But Johnny Grant was injured, so it makes sense. Hopefully Bergqvist has a good year in the AHL because he is definitely a big piece of this team's future in net. If Johnny Grant, or not Johnny Grant, what am I saying? Stanley King stays here that long. So we'll take Corey back out, get Bergqvist back in. And there it is. Perfect. Hopefully Grant stays healthy. And yep, he's back to full health. That's good. Yeah, we're having some pretty good offensive games, but we're also losing a lot more games than I anticipated in this early going. But like I said, it doesn't matter too much. But I don't know. Vernarski's been injured with a bruised arm. Let's just go replace player on that front. That'll give Bishop some ice time. And 13-8-1. Still pretty good. But we obviously aren't off to the best of starts in the world. We're currently second place in our division. Okay. Let's continue simulating. Maybe we're going to find ourselves here. This is going to be the last month of simulation in this episode. Then we'll take a look at player stats and see what's been problematic for us and what hasn't been. Because I feel like, I don't know if it's the goaltending that's holding us back a little bit or what. Like, there should be something that's definitely holding us back a bit. Vernarski is back, which means Bishop will get out. Hopefully our top 6 in general is doing good. Hopefully it is doing good because I'm paying a lot of those guys a lot of money. So Vernarski back into the lineup for Bishop. That is good to go. Let's see. Can we win another one? Yes, we can. 3 or 4 actually in a row. More than that, actually. Now we're cruising. Now we're cruising. We've won a lot of games straight here all of a sudden. So now we are playing like the team I was anticipating us to play like. There's a loss out to the Blues, but we were going to lose eventually. And we are going to have one more game left this year, and it's another win. So 24-9-1 at January the 1st. That's actually pretty insane. That's a pretty insane start. Really like that start to the season. 24 wins in our first 34 games. We could hit 60 wins this season. I could definitely see it coming. Okay, let's take a look at what has been going good for our team so far this season, what hasn't been, just in case we need to make any adjustments for next episode. But honestly, this team might just simulate like this, and we might not make any adjustments this season and just keep trusting that core. Because at the moment, we are currently the second best team in the league, only behind the New York Rangers. Our offense is currently the second best in the league, only behind the Anaheim Ducks. And we are currently the second best defensive team as well, behind the New York Rangers. Power play percentage wise, our power play is second best in the league as well, so we're second best in almost everything. And our penalty kill is also very good at 4th at 87%. So We already have 5 short-handed goals too. Everything seems to be actually clicking really well in the last 10 games, especially for this team. So I honestly don't know if I'll make any adjustments in terms of trades next episode, but I do want to take a look at how good everybody's been doing on this roster, because we should be a very good team in terms of depth scoring. So we have Michael Meese on 45 points in 34 games, plus 17. He's been great. Jerry Bickle, 38 points in 34 games. I am glad I locked him up, because it might look expensive once his... Actually, his extension starts next season? I didn't think it was next season. Oh, well. That's okay with me. So he'll start when he's like 25 years old. Okay. But he's been fantastic in his career already. He's already got 91 career points in only 116 games as a former 7th round pick, which is amazing. We have Goldman on 15 points in 34 games. Pretty damn solid start for Kurt Goldman compared to where he was finishing like the last few years. This is definitely going to be maybe a career year for him, but he is a -5, which is not great. Matsumoto on 11 points, not too bad for the rookie. He's almost doing better than Goldman in a way. Left wing wise, Groshek on 37 points. He's been great. Eberle on 26 points. I knew he was going to be good after last year's playoffs, and we have him on a pretty nice little contract. Enroth on 20 points has been good. I knew he was going to start playing good because he is a pending free agent soon, but we do have him locked up for a couple of years. Landon on 10 points, not bad. Jacquezi's on 40 points again, so it looks like another good year for Jacquezi. Aiden Irving's off to a good start too. 38 points in 34 games, 23 goals. So coming back from his injury, he is almost 30 years old at this point. So we might start seeing drop-off soon from Aiden Irving. But he is playing pretty damn good, and he's also very disciplined this season with only 10 penalty minutes. Wilson on 29 points, pretty damn good for him to be elevated into that top 6. And Fairchild's on 15 points. So in terms of forward depth scoring, I really like our depth scoring. Like every single line has been contributing. Like our worst offensive player in 34 games has 10 points already. So that means our fourth liners might end up ending the season with like 30 plus points, which is pretty nice around, or maybe 20 plus points. But still, good depth scoring there. What about defensively? Cairo on 22 is pretty solid. Vandermeer's on 20 as well. So that's why I brought back Cairo again, just to give us more depth on the offensive front from the back end. But Vandermeer's having another really good start. He only has 1 power play point, which is kind of weird. Louis Vera on 10 points. Vernarski on 8 points. Not bad. Palin on 8 points plus 14. Scarlett on 6 points. And Bishop on 2 goals in 4 games. Pierce Bishop is definitely looking decent, and he has changed from a depth defenseman to a top 6. So he might not like his ice time. That's an interesting dilemma. Because obviously, who the heck would I move out to get him in the lineup full time in that sense? Like, is it Scarlett? Is it Vernarski? Is it Louis Vara? But I still really like the defensive play on this team, so I like that a lot. Goaltending wise, let's see the goalie numbers. Woo! Johnny Grant, as a backup through 7 games, had a .930 save percentage, and then Stanley King has a .910. So Stanley King's playing pretty good this year, but obviously he has to get paid again, so that's probably why. But Johnny Grant is definitely showing himself as a good goaltender. Like in his career, he's 5-2 now with a .927 save percentage. And in playoff-wise, obviously he helped us win that Stanley Cup last year. Damn, man, that's good. I'm curious on where some of our players are league-wide right now in points. Luke Meese is up there, and look who's not Luke Meese. I was going to say Michael Meese is up there, but Michael is up there with Luke. Luke is having another good season in Columbus, so despite us losing a really good player, that real good player is still having a good season on another team, which is interesting. Does it suck losing Luke Meese a little bit, but at the same time, our team is still benefiting without him because of the fact that Bickle's now that second line center. Jacquezi's also up there in points. Anybody up there in goals right now? Aiden Irving's up there in goals. He's 7 goals behind Matthews, though, so I don't think he's going to win the Richard. But, yeah, Aiden Irving's off to a good start this year after returning from injuries. Yeah, this is a good season so far. Curious on our goaltending numbers here. Wow, Gabriel Dega's killing it with the Rangers right now. Okay. What about rookie-wise? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's any moves I'm wanting to make for next episode. I will still look at the trading block just for you guys, because obviously it will be interesting to see if there's anything that we could do trade-wise, but I think our roster is good enough. We're simulating good in every faucet. We just got to trust pretty much in the system going forward. Obviously, it would be very nice for us to win another Stanley Cup this year and capture our 3rd cup in 5 years. So we could make an upgrade, but at the same time, the way this roster is simulating, I think it doesn't really need much adjustments or any adjustments at all, even for that matter. Like, we don't really have a weakness. Like, we're good offensively, we're good defensively, our special teams have been good. Like, literally, it might be the perfect recipe for a first-round exit, but also could be a perfect recipe for a Stanley Cup win. So there is, like, really good players out there. Like, Heiskanen, who we got offered earlier, is actually a pretty good defenseman. But the question is, I don't think I want to take on $12 million bucks. And I don't know if I really want to get rid of any of my prospects at any stage here. I should actually also take a look at how good the AHL is doing in this episode, just because I am curious on how that guy we drafted last season is doing, or last off season, I should say. A lot of prospects on the block, so it's not really anything super interesting here, but that's okay. We'll still skim through it anyways. That's where Kupari is now in New York, despite New York being a very good team, apparently. Yeah, it's mostly just prospects on the block, so I don't even know if I'll make any trades, to be honest. I think holding our team together is what I'm going to probably do, because I don't really think any of these guys are huge like upgrades to our team. Also, a lot of them are older than what we currently have on our rosters. So, and Washington, Bernard Docker, that's it. Okay, last few things. Let's take a look. Let me take a look at our roster again here on paper. I do want to see the age range on our team. Yeah, we still have a fantastically young team too. That's why I'm not really wanting to bring in any old guys. Like, the oldest player on our team is Cairo, and he's 31. Like, this core is still very damn good for its age. Like, when Cam is one of the oldest guys on the team, that's a really good sign. Yeah, we're doing a really good job at building this team up here. So, yeah, I don't think there's really anything I'm going to do in terms of changes next episode, unless you guys really see anything out there. But what I wanted to take a look at next is the AHL, who is currently not doing too well, 10, 15, and 3. But it looks like some of the top guys are producing, but looks like they're just having a weird season. And Hansen's having a good start to his first year in the AHL, 19 points in 28 games. He is a +5 of 47 penalty minutes, so he's very aggressive. But he has been pretty good up to this point. He is still only a 78, but this guy might be one of those type of players that gets into our lineup and becomes very physical at some point. How has the goaltender done in Bergqvist? Not bad. A below 500 record, but 2 shutouts already. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So one thing I want to mention to you guys before I end this episode is this Winnipeg Jets series will be uploaded on Wednesdays and Saturdays starting next week, because I will be doing some MLB content. So basically, the Draft to Glory will be changing from we'll be doing still on Monday. It'll be Monday and Thursdays for the Draft to Glory series currently, and then obviously that will change into the Nashville series once the Nashville series starts. Tuesday and Fridays are going to be the MLB series, which means Wednesdays and Saturdays will be this Jet series going forward with the content. So just a little heads up on that. I completely forgot to mention that earlier. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, next episode, we might make some trades, we might not. We might just keep running the course, and yeah, we'll simulate the rest of the season and see if our team makes it back to the playoffs, which is more than likely, and we'll obviously see how long they make the playoffs for in the subsequent episodes. Send anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.